Celebrating the masses. Celebrating the Masters is only on Carnival Power 102, empowering you.
Well, I can tell you, on the road, safety first, so think twice and save a life. It's very simple. Wearing your seatbelt can save your life. Whether you're behind the wheel for an hour or a minute, folks, you've got to buckle up. It's never intentional, that's why it's called an accident, so just in case, buckle up. Seatbelt, passenger seat or the back seat, it doesn't really matter. Wherever, the seatbelt do save lives. So on the road, buckle up, think twice, and save a life. Powered by VEMCOT, the Vehicle Management Corporation of Trinidad and Tobago, Power 102, Boom 94. In association with the Computers and Control, Arrive Alive, and the TTPS.
Sexplosion is on Power 102, and now on new days and at new times.
Getting feedback
The
or?
country's most informative sex
You getting
education
feedback or this
No,
is
that's good.
Explosion is on every Thursday from 7 to 9 p.m. and Fridays from 9 p.m. to midnight with Dr. Raj, the guru of sex in the Caribbean.
A lot of times we think that sex is totally below the waist. It is not below the waist. It starts in the brain. The largest sex organ that you possess is your brain.
Tune in for discussion on all sexual matters. Sexplosion on Power 102, empowering you.
You come in the second half. So
Well, thank you for staying here with us on Carnival Power 2.1 FM. A very special thanks, as always, to Mac Daddy, my brother. Also, special thanks to my brother Skippy, Richard Norrie. Well, taking our time, it's now 5 minutes after 7 o'clock, and we do welcome you to Trinidad and Tobago's longest nighttime running program, Sexplosion, with the guru of sex education, Dr. Raj of Total Image and the Adult Therapy Center located in St. Augustine, where he do treats all sexual dysfunctions in both male and female. And a very special good evening to you, my big brother. How are you today?
pleasant good evening to you, Junior. Pleasant good evening to all the viewers, those of you on social media, those of you on the World Wide Web looking at us through the app or www.power102fm.com. Welcome, good evening.
Yes,
and of course, good old radio, theater of the mind. Remember, it's theater of the mind, so you got to imagine what's happening here. You got to imagine where we're sitting, how we're sitting.
Can't do better than this.
I can't do better than that. I sent out a broadcast yesterday and I have to apologize. I put the wrong date and time.
Well, as a matter of fact, I saw it, but you had me beaten.
I had everybody beat me. My wife was like...
I was questioning myself. I said to myself...
Well, I had no idea yesterday was Wednesday. I thought it was Thursday. So my apologies for that, but I did correct it.
Yes, you
And
did.
I sent out a second broadcast. I retracted the first one and I sent out a second one. And the reason why I sent out that broadcast yesterday is because this topic keep popping up from time to time. And yesterday I was talking to a young man who had some issues with his spouse, and he was asking me, you know, when last I did something on that. And then this young lady who was once an angel on the program, she also has a child and she has issues with the very same thing. So I decided to touch on this topic tonight, but I don't want to deviate too much. The reason being, on the second half of the program, I have Mr. Prashant Maharaj here, who will be speaking about what we're doing now with diabetes, the treatment of diabetes, and also the whole protocol that we have now for the treatment of diabetes together with what we do at the Adult Therapy Center. But first and foremost, since I deal with so many couples who want to have a child, And our success rate with that is very high. And we have so many young couples who have challenges in getting pregnant. The wife is having issues with that. The husband have some issues. They don't know what it is exactly. They would come to me. We will go through everything that you're supposed to do, get all the tests that are needed to be done, and then we start treating. If it's the male that needs to be treated, if it's the female, or both. I always tell my patients, I will do the physical part. The spiritual part is up to you and your belief. And I got that from my godfather, because many, many years ago, when I started to deal with the issue of fertility, he kind of picked up on one of the program coming from Ramainya from deep in South. And he heard me talking about it, and he called me afterwards and he told me, he said, what you're doing here is perfect, but just remember there's always a spiritual side to it. And you do the physical part, and I will do the spiritual part. And I used to send a lot of my patients to him. It doesn't matter what faith you came from. He would do the spiritual part to make sure the way is cleared for this to happen. For a family, for a husband and wife to be blessed with a child. Now that's a blessing. So over the weekend, there was also an article about it, and it was taken from a different angle, where there are lots of couples in Trinidad who wants to have a child, but they have challenges. And the challenges could be cultural, meaning that the man will tell the woman, it's your fault. I'm not going to get checked out. You need to get checked out. It's your fault. Many a times we have found that, sometimes, the majority of times, we have found that it is the man's fault, which is a funny thing. Yeah. Because the men would have issues. And if you take into consideration the society in which we live, petrochemical society, a liming society, a fetting society, alcohol in abundance, smoking cigarettes, whatever. We do all the bad things. Poor diet, less sleep, lack of exercise. We do all the bad things, and we expect that everything would be perfect with us. It's not. So when we take these couples and walk them through the journey of getting there to have a child, that's the first challenge. You know what's the second challenge?
What's that?
The second challenge is when that couple has a child. Many a times I've found that a lot of these couples, when they have a child, they feel so blessed to have this child that they forego simple things in life, and they are concentrating on the child and the betterment of the child and what's best for the child. But sometimes what's best for the child is not what's best for the couple. And I'll explain that. Having a child is a blessing. We all know that. We like to take care of our children, child and children. We want to make sure our child or children grow up in the best possible way. Give them everything that we were denied. Make sure they don't go through the trials and tribulation that we go through. That's understood. No parent bring a child into this world and want them worse off than they are.
No, of course
not. No parent. No matter what you do in life, you always want to see your children better than you are. That's a given. But one of the things I've found is that a lot of men, if they are there during the birthing process, that becomes a challenge to the man. Because witnessing childbirth is not an easy thing. It could be mentally, physically, and emotionally damaging to you. Because watching this child coming out of a vagina is not an easy thing. Because you're going to tell yourself, wait a minute, that's what I get pleasure out of. This is giving birth to a child, my future. This is giving birth to our future and our blessing. So you may start looking at that vagina differently, unless you are mentally prepared. So sometimes the therapy or the counseling that goes in before is to tell the husband, these are the things to expect if you want to go there and witness the birth of your child. You must be mentally prepared for this, and it's not the end of the world. As a matter of fact, it could be a new beginning, providing that you understand this process and you know the adjustment that the female body does go through to bring forth a child into the world, and understand that that birthing process could very quickly turn into your pleasure process. We take a break. When we come back, we'll take it up again.
Well, taking our time, it's now 12 minutes after 7 o'clock. You are on the inside of Trinidad and Tobago, #1 nighttime program, Sexplosion, with the only sexologist in the Caribbean, Dr. Raj. We're going to take a break and would be right back with you. Stay tuned.
in collaboration with Downtown Carnival Committee and B-Mobile, says it's that time again. Soca in the Square at the launch of Downtown Carnival 2K19. Soca in the Square. Soca in the Square. Friday, February 8th. Be entertained by some of the biggest soca artists for Carnival 2K19 from 4 to 8 p.m. Soca in the Square, you don't know.
Are the problems and destructive anxieties of today tearing you apart? If there was ever a time to readjust your priorities and refocus your vision, it's now. Join Pastor Wayne Sampson on the Vision Flow devotional program every Monday from 5:30 to 6 a.m. right here on Power 102 FM. Jesus is the only one who can give you peace in the midst of today's storm.
Get ready for the full deployment of troops. All units, all crews, assemble for the safest Fed in Carnival, Army Fed. On February 22nd, we return to the Queen's Park Savannah. Mobilized and ready, the king of soca. Well, let's say this is Marshall Montana, Marshall Montana. Swappy. You don't know when it's we touch down. Nyla Blackman.
Yo, it's your girl Nyla Blackman, and I will be at the safest bet for Carnival. Army You want a piece of that?
Lydia Watson. Shal Marshall. Nessa Ruby. And from Jamaica, Shamsia will represent for the ladies.
Hey, you know, Sexologist, Queen's Park Savannah, me a forward on February 22nd for Army
We open up lines?
Army.
Open up lines?
You what?
Open up lines?
Yeah.
We return to Queen's Park, Savannah for the safest Fed for Carnival. Army Fed. The Soca Champions. Boom 94. The official station for Army Fed. Sexplosion is on Power 102 and now on new days and at new times. The country's most informative sex education program, Sexplosion, is on every Thursday from 7 to 9 p.m. and Fridays from 9 p.m. to midnight with Dr. Raj the guru of sex in the Caribbean.
A lot of times we think that sex is totally below the waist. It is not below the waist. It starts in the brain. The largest sex organ that you possess is your brain.
Tune in for discussion on all sexual matters. Sexplosion on Power 102. Empowering you. Power 102 FM, Boom Champions 94, and Vemcott present Think Twice. Think Twice. We celebrate life and promote safety on the nation's roads. Think twice on the roads, in your cars, for our pedestrians and cyclists. Think twice before you drive, act, and go about your daily lives. Every life is precious, and we must each do our part to preserve lives on the roads of Trinidad and Tobago. Think twice. Every day, we give you life-saving tips and advice on how you can safely use our roads and highways in Trinidad and Tobago. We also invite you to download this safety app, which you can use to share messages and information in your very own private networks between family and friends and co-workers, all to keep each other safer. Think Twice. Brought to you by the Vehicle Management Corporation of Trinidad and Tobago Limited, VEMCOT, in association with Arrival Live and the TTPS, the Galette Group of Companies, Neil and Massey North Credit Union, and Computers and Controls. Think Twice. Think Twice. Safety for you and your family. Think Twice. And a safer Trinidad and Tobago. Welcome to Carnival 2019 on main stage Power 102, celebrating the Masters.
Climbing up a mountain, high above the sea. I'll find myself approaching a higher pyramid.
Celebrating the Masters. Come and enjoy the sweet, enticing sound of Pan, Calypso, and the best of Carnival 2019.
The last one.
Celebrating the Masters with ticket giveaways to some of your favorite carnival shows and fetes, interesting historical features, and to keep you updated and in the know, our Carnival Calendar 2019. Celebrating the Masters. Celebrating the Masters is only on Carnival Power 102. empowering you. Welcome to Carnival 2019 on Main Stage Power 102, celebrating the masters.
This thing going crazy here on me here, boy.
You blank it off?
This,
Yeah, just go ahead.
Well, taking our time, it's now 19 minutes after 7 o'clock inside Sexplosion with the only sexologist in the Caribbean, Dr. Raj. Folks, for those of you who would love to interact with him via the telephone, feel free. Our lines are open at 222-8255, also at 612-8255. Now, for those of you who want to send him a WhatsApp or a text message, you can also do that on his private mobile at 740-1961. You are listening to a program that's informative, educational, and of course entertaining, exclusively on Power 102 FM.
The first casualty of this is usually the male. When a woman becomes pregnant, the man starts thinking that if he have intercourse with his wife, he may cause harm to the baby. Now that cannot happen. There are certain positions that may be uncomfortable for the woman, so you need to adjust your positions. You need to speak to your OBGYN, you need to speak to your gynecologist, you need to speak to a sexologist to find out what you can do or what you cannot do. As a matter of fact, when the woman goes to a gynecologist or OBGYN, he or she will guide that person and tell that person what is best, how they should go about doing stuff, which are the safe periods. You have 3 trimesters, each one of 3 months. So they will guide you accordingly. So don't believe that you can harm the fetus in the womb by having intercourse. So take that out of your mind. Now come the birthing process. Once that birthing process has taken place and you have witnessed it, don't think that is how the vagina is going to remain. The vagina is not going to remain that way. So it's going to get back to that thing that you love. Starting with a P.
Well, yeah, of course.
But the vagina is, of course, for pleasure, but also for bringing life into the world. So take that into consideration, that it's going to go back to normal. But what happens when you start rearing that child and you start thinking of your wife as a mother as opposed to as a lover? That's where the psychological part comes in. You see the birthing process, you see the love that the mother has for the child, and now you're so tied up with that now, you're thinking that this is now the mother of my child, and I don't want to be doing anything to spoil that. And part of not wanting to do anything to spoil that is you don't see her as a lover. That is where the psychological part comes in. Worse yet, if you remember the birthing process. I tell guys, when you witness that, put it out of your mind, forget that, that is just that, it's done. It's not going to happen until the next time she has a child. The vagina heals, even if she gets stitches, it's going to heal. Everything goes back to normal. And it does go back to normal. So you have nothing to worry about there. What happens when the mother now becomes overprotective as a mother and start taking care of that child and clings to that child and only thinks about being a mother and thinks about motherhood, and she loses her sexiness. She loses her libido because she don't want to think that I am now a mother, I shouldn't be having sex. I shouldn't be amorous with my husband. But always remember, the mother of your child is your lover. The father of your child is your lover. So you have to also get back into that mode of being a lover. However long, but it shouldn't take very long. It should not take more than a year. No way. As a matter of fact, a few months you should be getting back into that mode that I am the mother of a child, but I'm also the lover of my husband. Because the minute you start allowing motherhood or fatherhood to get into the way or get in the way of how you interact with your spouse, you're heading for trouble. You're heading for problems in your sex life. You're heading for problems in the way you interact with one another, because it could bring a lot of frustration. It could bring unnecessary quarrel. Because when a man is frustrated by not getting that sexual fulfillment from his partner, what happens? What happens? Don't we rebel? Don't we lash out?
We will.
So this is what happens if you allow that to happen. If the woman now is thinking along the line of this motherhood, or thinking that I should not be reacting to my husband in a sexual way, I should not be doing the things that I enjoyed previously, you're changing your life to suit the child, but you're depriving yourself. A lot of mothers out there no longer want to make love, no longer want to do the things that they would do normally if they were young and vibrant. Now that they also start thinking, I'm a mother now, I should be more mature. I shouldn't be looking at porn. I shouldn't hear a curse word. I shouldn't. But you're not being human.
Yeah, but they don't think in a position like that they would be paying more attention to the newborn.
You pay attention to the newborn. I'm not denying that. But what I'm talking about, you and your psychological change. The changes that takes place in you that causes you to reject the things that used to make you who you are. For example, if you and your husband used to like to spend a weekend in a hotel making love, or in the bedroom, you forego that now because you're telling yourself, I'm a mother, I shouldn't be doing that. I'm talking about the psychological effect, you know. Not all women think like that, you know, but some do. Some do. Now think about this. You just had a child. The child is in a crib. The child is in your room because you want to be as close to that child as possible. There's a weaning process. There are things that you would do. You have to wake up very often in the night to feed the child and all that. Fine. There must come a time for separation, you know. Because anytime you allow that child to remain in your room, you're in trouble.
Oh yes.
Serious trouble.
Serious trouble.
Anytime you allow that, you are going to find yourself in serious trouble. And a lot of couples find themselves in a situation like that. Anytime over a period of 9 months to a year, that child remains in your room, that child becomes so attached to you in that room, that child will not want to leave. That child will actually become a separator to you and your husband, because that child will find themselves sleeping between you and your husband. Your husband cannot be amorous with you. You can't be amorous with your husband. You have to thief a chance to make love. It's no longer making love. It's a quickie. It's no longer making love. It's no longer expression of oneself the way you used to do it before. All it is a quickie to get this thing as over with as quickly as possible because the child is there. What are you doing to yourself? You are putting a wedge between you and your husband without even knowing it. If that child remains in your room for more than 1 year, and 1 year is a long time, I will say 9 months, 6 to 9 months. Because that's how I did it. So I'm talking from the practical way. Have something to monitor the child if the child is in another room, but let the child know from there and then that mommy and daddy is mommy and daddy.
Yep.
That, you know, my children, although they're big man and woman, they know their mother is my lover. That's my woman. It's true, it's your mother, but you have to understand that. And once you let the child understand that this, when mommy and daddy is in this room together, you don't disturb. You know, I always tell that story where the children growing up and whatnot, they know once that door locked, don't even knock, unless the house burning down. Right? But you know, when they became older, that's when they used to knock. But it's what happens, but you have to know how to control that. But you instill that in your children. Because you have to have control over your child, and you have to have control over what happens in your home. So if the man allows it, what is going to happen? He's going to pay a price. If the woman allows it, you're going to pay a price not only with yourself, but your relationship with your spouse and the way you groom your child. Because now your child will realize the power that they have. You know. Children are very manipulative. Children are very, very manipulative. They know how to control situations. They know how to take advantage of situations. If you don't believe me, try mine in a child. They know when to cry. They know when to go along the place. They know when to do this. They know when to do that. They know when to get your attention. They know when to irritate you. Isn't that so?
Well, of course, yeah.
Everyone who has a child will tell you that. Unless you grow up your child with discipline. And unless you instill in your child certain values, they will come to the realization they cannot get away with all these little stupidity.
You have to nip it in the bud.
You have to nip it in the bud. So when you allow that child to remain in your room for a long period of time, and like I said, anyone who have their child in the room over a year, crapo smoke your pipe. Because how do you get back now to tell that child, hear what? This bedroom is not for you. Because you have instilled in that child that this bedroom is yours. How do you change that mindset? Both the child feel rejection if you put the child out. You know, you put the child in the room, you see they coming back with the blanket in their mouth and they're climbing up on the bed.
And then you, as a spouse, feel a pressure.
Of course you're going to feel bad. Who wouldn't feel bad about it? But if you did it when the child was a baby, a toddler, 6 months, put them in a room, monitor it. It doesn't matter if you get 10 times in the night to check. Do it. Because it's going to work well for you later on in life. But if you leave that child there, and that child becomes part of that bedroom, your bedroom life goes down. And there's no coming back from that unless you make a concerted effort. Unless you make a concerted effort to change your ways. Many a times, we as human beings fall into what you call routines very easily. And when you find yourself in a routine and you become comfortable with that routine, it's very difficult to get out of it. You know? It becomes very, very difficult for you to come out of that routine and change your ways. You know? So the longer you find yourself in this routine with that child manipulating things, by being in that room, by being between you, mommy and daddy, creating a wedge, spoiling the way that you're supposed to interact with your spouse. Because of course you're not going to be making love in front of the child. Of course you're not going to be feeling up your wife or touching up your husband. You're not going to want to do that. You wouldn't feel comfortable. No, you'll feel like, how doing that? Mm-hmm. So anytime you make a move to that, you think, oh God, the child in the room. And eventually what happened? She's sleeping so facing the wall and you sleeping so facing the wall. You're afraid to touch her. She's afraid to touch you. She's afraid for anything to lead to sex because you'll want to have sex, and what are we going to do? The child in the room.
It happens.
It happens. I've seen it happen many times. So that's where the counseling comes in after the birth. What you do after the birth. How do you handle these situations? What do you do with the child? How do you separate? How do you continue to be lovers? But let's face it, husband and wives are supposed to be lovers. Not all the time. But in the privacy of your bedroom, the privacy when you have that time together, if you're young and whatnot, not your age, at my age, when you're younger, you'll feel to have sex more often. Isn't that so?
Well, I mean, does it mean some
so you admitted it. No, well, I always let people know that the more mature you become, it's more difficult to be turned on. The more experiences you have, it's more difficult to be turned on. And that's a given. So, given the experiences that I may have and you may have and the age that we have packed on, yes, it's going to be a little more difficult as opposed to a man who is in his 20s and all of a sudden you touch your wife and you're ready to go. You're raring to go, she's raring to go. But some women forget all the nice things that they used to do in their teenage years, sexually. Early adulthood. Before they had the child. The chances they used to take, the things that they used to do. And forsake all that. Because their mind is now concentrated on the child. And their whole life has turned around because of the child. It should never be so.
Anyway, folks, taking our time, 29 minutes before 8 o'clock, you are on the inside of Sexplosion, Trinidad and Tobago #1 nighttime program when it comes to sex education, with the only sexologist in the Caribbean, Dr. Raj of Total Image and the Adult Therapy Center located in St. Augustine. Don't forget our lines are open for those of you who would love to interact with him. Maybe something sexual might be bothering you. Well, I can tell you, this is the forum for it. 222-8255, also at 612-8255. Now, for those of you who would love to send him a WhatsApp or a text message, you know, some of you don't want to hear your voice on radio, maybe your neighbor is listening, you can also send him a WhatsApp or a text message on his private mobile, 740-1961. You are listening to a program that's informative, educational, and of course entertaining, exclusively on Power 102 FM. Yeah.
So what do you do? The conversation should start with you and your spouse. It may sound as though you're putting your child out, but you're not. What you're doing is saving your marriage now, at this moment. and preventing heartache, separation, and even divorce later on.
Oh, yeah.
Because it could lead to that. Because no man wants to be in a relationship with their spouse, especially a man and a woman, wants to be in a relationship and not having the opportunity to have that sexual desire or to live out that sexual desire with their partner. Women could suppress, and we know that for a fact. There are lots of things women could suppress. There are lots of things that women could say, okay, they turn their mind away from it because of the greater good, which may be the family, or other things, but not men. We wake up at morning erection. Why do you think we wake up at our morning erection? We wake up at our morning erection because our testosterone is at the highest. So we want to have sex. We want to relieve it.
You can have sex anytime.
Anytime, providing you get an erection. Let's take this call. Yeah. And of course, we're inviting callers, and I hope the callers call in and lay in on this topic.
Hi, hello, good evening, and welcome to Sexplosion.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening.
Wanted to ask the doctor, what is the best clinically proven way to increase your testosterone levels?
The best clinically proven way to increase your testosterone level is by taking testosterone treatment. Don't ever take tablets to increase your testosterone level. That don't happen. You cannot ingest anything to increase testosterone. So if anybody tell you they're giving you a tablet, or if you, a lot of people are fooled into going to all these pharmacies and whatnot and saying, boost testosterone, testosterone booster, 100% testosterone increase. That is pure crap. You cannot raise testosterone level with tablets. You could supplement the treatment, yes, but you cannot raise it with testosterone with tablets. That's impossible. Ask any bodybuilder, ask any sportsman, ask anyone who is in the arena, how do you increase testosterone? Exercise, sleep, and the proper treatment. And of course, the proper treatment will take into consideration what your levels at, your age, and factors that are affecting you. And the same thing I spoke about when you have a couple who wants to have a child and the husband testosterone level is low. I saw somebody put in the article that don't take testosterone treatment. Well, I'll tell you something. If you don't take testosterone treatment, you'll never increase your sperm count. So you have to do one before the other. If you're trying to increase your sperm count without increasing your testosterone level, you put in the cart before the horse, and that never works.
That won't work at all.
That will never work. When I saw that article and the person said that, I said, what? Come on, you're supposed to be a professional. And this is somebody with an in vitro clinic, but you know people with in vitro clinic, it's only a rip-off, Pure rip-off.
Is that right?
Pure rip-off. Total rip-off. I spoke about that many times. They give you false hope. They make you think that they can get your wife pregnant. They don't tell you of all the failures they have had. They don't tell you of the percentage of success, which is very, very low, minuscule. All they want to see is that big set of money that you have to pay for it to be done. $80,000. And we'll make you have a child, but no guarantee, nothing written in paper. I could do it for 1/8 of that. For 1/8 of that. All natural.
Well, taking our time, it's now 24 minutes before 8 o'clock, and I can tell you, nobody does better what we do best when it comes to sex education. Every Thursday and Friday with the guru of sex education, Dr. Raj of Total Image and the Adult Therapy Center. Folks, just reminding you once again that our lines are open for those of you who would love to interact with him via the telephone. Feel free, 222-8255. Also at 612-8255. Yeah.
One of the biggest scam they have is that, giving couples false hope. I have had couples come to me where the husband has absolutely no sperm. No sperm. And in the in vitro clinic, they tell him, yes, you could have a child. How is that possible? They're using the sperm from the doctor. Because that is impossible. If the man has no sperm, how you go in and they tell you, yes, give it a try. We go see what we could do. That is just ripping off people. A man who has no sperm cannot impregnate a woman. It is as simple as that. But you know, everybody wants to know they have hope. So if I could pay you $50,000, $60,000, $100,000 for hope, you'll do it. And there's some persons who have done it twice. There's one gentleman who came to me. He has no sperm. None. 5 years he has taken tests, not by me, but elsewhere. And you know the in vitro clinic telling me, yes, he could have a child. He did it twice. And this is supposed to be an intelligent person. When he told me that, I looked at him and said, Reds, I don't know what to tell you. I really can't tell you anything again. There's no way you can have a child. Unless you get a sperm donor.
Right, yeah.
You cannot have a child. Your wife could. Maybe. Or a woman in her 40s, late 40s, telling her, yes, you could have a child. Not even releasing the eggs properly, the eggs not maturing properly, but telling them yes. These are things that people have to be aware of. You have to be very aware of these things. I tell them when they tell you that, tell them put it in writing and guarantee it. Tell them to guarantee it. You're paying all this set of money. Tell them to guarantee it. But we're getting back to the parent and parenting and the manipulation of a child. You're babysitting your child. You're looking at him or her, and you will see how they become manipulative. If you have 2 children, you could see that in them. The age close together, a year or 2 apart. You could see those things. Worse yet, if you have a grandchild, and you're spending time with that grandchild, boy, that's why they say they have you wrap around their fingers. Isn't that so?
Well, you know the experience in that.
Not yet. He wrapped me around his fingers. Well, he have me wrapped around his fingers, but I wouldn't allow it to go so far.
Anyway, folks, taking our time, 20 minutes before 8 o'clock. Sexplosion on Power 102.1 FM. We'll take a break and we'll be right back with you. Stay tuned.
Get ready for the full deployment of troops. All units, all crews, assemble for the safest Fed in Carnival, Army Fed. On February 22nd, we return to the Queen's Park Savannah. Experience the generals of Soca in the Soca Showdown.
And this thing going crazy tonight, boy. First time I'm experiencing
Patrice Roberts. Blacks and the All Stars Band. Plus many more. Army Fest. On February 22nd, we return to Queen's Park, Savannah for the safest Fed for Carnival. Army Fed. The Soca Champions. Boom 94. The official station for Army Fed. Power 102 in collaboration with Downtown Carnival Committee and B-Mobile says it's
Junior,
that time again.
notice you have a lot of dead air
Soca in this
regularly now.
the launch of Downtown Carnival.
Between ads and things. That happen regularly.
You find so?
Yeah.
I noticed that today. Yeah. I find this machine going crazy too.
No, it's machine going crazy because you have a lot of dead air.
Yeah.
Sometimes in the morning,
Yeah, that's why.
this evening they had two times that dead air.
That's why I do it one by one to make sure. I know your brother noticed. I listened to that today. And I
No, it
found
had dead air twice. You know, that is catch your attention. Even if it's for a few seconds.
Yeah, I got it today too. That's why I'm doing it individually.
What do I have?
You ain't seen one more after this. You see, that's why when I started, it was going crazy.
In collaboration with Downtown Carnival Committee and B-Mobile, in association with Stag, LLCB, and Nestle 3-in-1 Cafe. Friday, February 8th.
Ballpark Insight presents Sweat Season, the biggest 7 versus 7 sweat in TNT. Every Tuesday and Thursday we assemble at the ballpark. Center of Excellence Bukoya from 7 p.m. till midnight. Hey, bring your side or you could just...
When you call come through, you can't throw it to that speaker. Could you throw it to the speaker instead of here?
No.
Check out the Thursday night drink specials. Visit Ballpark TT for all your information about sweat, rentals, or upcoming leagues. For more information, contact 201-2255-728-5511 or 325-6619. The ML Ballpark, sponsored by Sunshine Snacks and Medical Associates.
I want to continue that nobody does better what we do best when it comes to sex education every Thursday and Friday evening right here on Power 102 FM. The only sexologist in the Caribbean, Dr. Raj. Don't forget, folks, our lines are open for those of you who would love to interact with him via the telephone. Feel free at 222-8255, also at 612-8255. For those of you sending in your WhatsApp, you can also do that on his private mobile, 740-1961. Also, you can send in your messages on our website at Power 102 FM. Yeah.
Doctor, good evening. Is it usual for a woman to lose her desire for sex during pregnancy? It depends. There are some women who are very uncomfortable pregnancy, so they lose the desire for sex at the very beginning. There are some women who have to remain bedridden, so they lose the desire for sex. There are some women, the pressure that is placed on the bladder causes so much discomfort that they don't want to have sex. So yes, it's not something that is unusual. Women can lose the desire for sex, but of course, it all depends on the person, and of course, the direction from your OBGYN. Dr. Raj, babies are really manipulated, because I babysit my grandson, and from the time his Nana reached home and he sees him, he would cry because Nana would go walk with him in the yard. That is so true. I have a friend. From the time he reaches in school, outside the gate, all he says, Nana! He says he just hear that from a mile. And everybody in the school calls him Nana now because of that. Well, he looks like a famous Indian actor that is, his first name is Nana Patekar. So I guess it suits him. For those of you who want to contribute to the program, you want to add something to the program, for those of you who agree with what I'm saying or disagree, please call.
Yes, and don't forget the numbers are 222-8255, also at 612-8255.
I also heard today that we have a WhatsApp in the studio now.
Yes, and the number is
318-1021. For those of you who have that number saved already, you can sit around Dr. Raj. Sometimes the couple starts taking each other for granted and they have stopped courting each other. Boredom can set in and their interest in each other drops. That's true. But if the child is there as a wedge, it happens faster. Take that call, Junior.
Mm-hmm. Hello and welcome to Sexplosion. Good evening.
Yeah, good night.
Good evening.
Dr. Raj, if you could shed some light on something, I don't know if it's in your field. Could someone, a woman that's 58, your monthly?
Yeah, there are some women who see a late period, yes.
Yes?
Yes, it's possible.
People have a relative who, it is coming on, and stop and come, like,
Well, there's some women who stop. They have the period for 1 month and they may not have it for 4 months and then it comes back again a month. There are some women who have a monthly period. It all depends on the woman and it all depends on the maturity of the eggs.
58.
So it could happen, yes.
Because she got kind of scared and she went to the gynecologic clinic in Montreux, and
What did they tell her? Is it a period? No. But did they tell her if it's a period or it's caused by cyst?
If what?
If it is a period or is it something that is caused by cyst?
I don't know, but they're doing some tests right now to see.
Well, right. So they will determine whether it is a period or if it's something else.
Oh, all right then.
Okay, so it could be a period or it could be something else.
All right.
But yes, it is possible.
Thank you very much.
So we're looking at the factor of you having a child in the bedroom, you losing interest in your spouse sexually, or even losing interest in yourself sexually, you not being able to converse with individuals who are talking about sex. Because you tell yourself that that is not for me anymore. I am too mature for this. I'm a mother, I'm a father. I shouldn't be talking about sex. But what are you doing to yourself? Are you not destroying part of you? Because if your whole being was, and part of that being was the sexual part of you, and you're destroying that, what's going to happen to you later on? It's going to affect you. So you have to be very careful about that. If your friends decide to talk about things that are sexual, join in the conversation. Not because you are a mother or a father means to say that you're no longer a man or a woman. You are still a man and a woman. You still have feelings. You still have a libido. It is how you caress that libido. It's how you develop that libido. It is how you interact with your spouse that will make that libido grow or diminish. Remember, we always talk about things that are sexual. If you don't use it, you lose it.
You more than lose it.
So you got to be very careful about that. What you do and how you do it, what you do to stimulate yourself, what you do to stimulate your partner, the conversations that you have, the interaction that you have with your spouse, and that wedge should never be there, because you may even, some parents have done this. Some parents have done this because we are not all perfect. They have blamed their children for a breakdown in their relationship.
Oh yeah.
But it is not the child's fault. It is your fault. You created the bad habit with your child by allowing your child to do certain things and allowing your child to manipulate your life. And the minute they can do that, you have lost control. Every man and woman should have control over their household and over their interaction. They should have control over that, not the child. Because the minute the child sees that he or she have control over that, they're going to take advantage of it.
Oh yes, they will.
So don't blame the child, blame yourself, because you didn't do the right things at the right time. Timing is what is important. You got to know when to sever that dependency. It's the same thing when you drop your child off at school. You know, some people drop their child off at school and they stand by the gate and cry?
Oh, I did that at the very beginning.
That's the worst thing you could do. That is the worst thing you can do.
But when you see that innocent face,
you talk to them before, you let them know that if tomorrow is school, you'll be starting school, mommy and daddy will not be around, right? You will be making new friends, you're in a different environment, you drop them off, and your bong starter and you're gone. Once they cross that gate. Don't stop to look, because the minute you stop to look at that child, you're going to turn around and say, "Abby, what are you looking at me for?" Manipulation.
You was there when I dropped off my child 32 years ago.
Yes, I saw you.
Yeah.
Because, now, maybe later on in the day, the teacher will call and say, "Boy, this child giving real trouble, she crying or he crying, they can't handle it, please come for your child." That is all right. Because then you go back. So the child sees that
you come back for them.
You come back for them. You're not abandoning them.
No.
Because if they feel abandoned, you're in trouble. You don't want that child to feel abandoned. But again, the conversation starts while you're going home. "Well, honey, you know this is a stage in life. You must go to school. I wouldn't always be there." You're preparing their minds.
You build them up.
You're preparing their minds. Because mommy and daddy will not always be there. And then the next day you go to drop them off and say, "I am taking you to school today again. I don't want you behaving badly. I know you will feel sad. You may want to cry. Go in a corner and cry quietly." Right? Mommy and daddy loves you.
We're going to come back for you.
We're going to come back for you in the afternoon when the bell rings.
Yeah.
When that last bell rings and the teacher says school is over, we'll be outside the gate waiting for you.
Anyway, folks, taking our time, it's now 8 minutes before 8 o'clock. You are listening to Sexplosion on Power 2.1 FM on this Thursday evening with the guru of sex education, Dr. Raj, in of Total Image and the Adult Therapy Center located in St. Augustine. We're going to take a break and we'll be right back with you. Stay tuned.
Power 102, in collaboration with Downtown Carnival Committee and B-Mobile, says it's that time again.
memories, boy.
That's all I just remember about that. Good memories.
Good memories.
From 4 to 8 p.m.
Cutie Pie was with us? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. What good times.
That's when she was running second.
Who was running second?
Cutie Pie.
To what?
To the Coca-Cola.
We didn't know Coca-Cola yet.
Coca-Cola was the year after.
No, Coca-Cola was there. Oh. She could really run in second. What are you saying, boy?
Now, okay, yes. I get it.
Come
now.
on.
I got it now. Yeah, I got it now.
LCD and Nestle 3-in-1 Cafe. Friday, February 8th. Power 102 FM, Boom Champions 94, and Vempot present Think Twice. Think Twice. We celebrate life and promote safety on the nation's roads. Think twice on the roads, in your cars, for our pedestrians and cyclists. Think twice before you drive.
I'm going to test it now to see if it's really crazy.
Every life is precious, and we must each do our part to preserve lives on the roads of Trinidad and Tobago. Think twice. Every day, we give you life-saving tips and advice on how you can safely use our roads and highways in Trinidad and Tobago. We also invite you to download this safety app, which you can use to share messages and information in your very own private networks between family and friends and co-workers, all to keep each other safer. Think twice. Brought to you by the Vehicle Management Corporation of Trinidad and Tobago Limited, VEMCOT, in association with Arrive Alive and the TTPS, the Gallant Group of Companies, Neil and Massey North Credit Union, and Computers and Controls. Think twice. Think twice. Safety for you and your family. Think twice. And a safer Trinidad and Tobago.
What? I got to know the timing, boy. Well, I can tell you that knowledge and experience, this is what it's all about when you are on the inside of Trinidad and Tobago #1 nighttime program, Sexplosion, with the guru of sex education, Dr. Raj of Total Image and the Adult Therapy Center located in St. Augustine, where he treats all sexual dysfunctions in both male and female. Folks, don't forget our lines are open if you would love to interact with him via the telephone at 222-8255, also at 612-8255. Yeah.
Pleasant good evening to Sasha, Sadar, how are you? Neela, Shamila, Farina, Sunita. Good night to you all. Good evening. Somebody asked if I really have a branch in South. Yes, at the Dr. Raj Adult Boutique, DB. You can see me there. As a matter of fact, I'll be there on the 14th, the 19th, and what is that date? I think the 12th of next month. Yes. But the 14th and 19th definitely of this month. So for those of you who want to make an appointment, you can send a message on my WhatsApp 7401961. You can call Total Image and make your appointment from there at 645-4543. And you can also call the Debe branch at 366-5843. So for those of you who want to make an appointment to see me on the 14th or the 19th, you can call 366-5843. You can call 645-4543, or you can call, send me a WhatsApp message, 7401961. So getting back to what I'm talking about. You as the parent have control. You drop your child off at school, that there's a separation. There will be separations in life. You're not abandoning your child. What you're doing is that you're teaching your child a bit of independence. The very same thing in your bedroom. That child remains in your bedroom, they become a wedge, they become a separator, they cause a breakdown in the relationship because you as a father know that you are limited with what you can do with your spouse. You as a mother know that you're limited because the child is there. But remember, you are the encourager of that. So what you're doing, you're contributing to your own downfall. So you need to make a hard and fast decision that I am no longer going to be a contributor to this. I am going to make sure my child is taken care of in the best possible way without that child being a wedge, without any one of us having to say that it is because of the child that causes us to separate or divorce later on. You don't want that. So you must make that decision very early. Now you remember you have all those factors before, you have the factors of not wanting to have sex with your spouse, with your wife because she's pregnant. You're afraid you'll hurt the child. Witnessing the birthing process, you say, oh my God, I can't satisfy this woman again. Well, this is what has really happened. That's the psychological part. There's a healing process after she have had the child. So you're not going to be amorous with her during that period. You're not going to have sexual intercourse. But very easily, we have to push those things aside and become lovers with our friend, our partner, our spouse. Do the things that will stimulate you. Date your wife. Date your husband. The child should be part of that. Like I said before, on your date night, you're not going there to discuss the child and school. You're not going to discuss child fees or school fees. When you date your spouse, you go there to discuss us. What's happening between us? How we can make things better. You're not going there go on your date night to discuss finances. If you want to do that, stay home, sit down in the gallery and discuss that in a rocking chair. In your date night, you have to make sure you're dressed to the nines. So your husband see you for who you are, the sexy woman that he married, the woman that turns him on, and you see your husband for what he is. That dashing, handsome man that you like to make love to. And remember how you used to make love in the early days. Remember the development. Remember the things that used to turn you on. If you hear things of a sexual nature, it shouldn't be a turn off for you anymore. Why should it be a turn off? Because you have had a child? Because you have matured a bit? What they say, a mother to your child, a wife in the home, a chef in the kitchen and a hoe in the bedroom.
I was waiting for the last part.
I know that because you like that part. Always be a hoe in the bedroom. Don't forget that, otherwise somebody else will be.
But
don't give anyone else that opportunity.
But a child really, when a child's come into a family, it really changes your
does.
lifestyle.
It does. This is not a car you're buying a car, This is a life coming out at you. Remember, a parent have a certain amount of responsibility, which is multiplied for any time you have a child. Okay? There are certain things that will change, but it should not change you and your interaction with your spouse. No way.
No, it shouldn't.
Because listen to this. You have a child. That child is going to grow up. That child at 14, 15, I give a damn about you, You could be mother, you could be father. A man walk into that child life, or a woman walk into that child life. That child has nothing to do with you, I have known parents who have grown up their child to the teenage years, put them through school, give them everything that they need, sacrifice. And that young girl meet a man on the outside, a man fool she and she forsake her parents, And who do you have to live with afterwards? Not your spouse?
Well, of course,
So what you going to do? Destroy the bridge and try to rebuild it later on? No, you keep that bridge very strong. And you always remember that there will come a time it will only be you and your spouse. You and your husband or you and your wife.
Yeah, because eventually
your child will move on. Your child will go away to study. Your child will get married. Your child will move out of the home. You have that child for a certain period of time, and I'll tell you something. Anyone who knows, anyone who has done it properly will know that there will come a period in that child's life, about 12, 13, 14 years of age, they don't want to have nothing to do with you, You go in my family and think they want to go in that car with you?
But I think one of the reasons for that is that, as you rightfully mentioned, they start school and they start getting friends.
They're finding themselves.
Yeah.
They are finding themselves. And that is all part of the developmental process. I'm not knocking that. What I'm knocking is the parent who dotes on their child and think their child is their whole world, and suddenly that child abandons them.
When they reach a certain age.
Because like I said, as a father, I'm a father of a daughter and a son. I will give my life for my children. Any parent will do that. My daughter is my eyeball. My son is my eyeball, left and right. I don't like one more than the other. My daughter is my first child. But there will come a day that daddy is no longer the number one person in her life. And I have prepared myself for that mentally, be it today, tomorrow, next year. It doesn't matter, but there will come a time when that will happen. My son is already married. I don't expect my son that his parents are number one in his life. His wife and child is number one in his life now. Isn't that the change in life? Isn't that developmental process?
Oh, yeah.
Right? Today I called my son, I didn't talk to him for about 3 or 4 days. I said, we haven't spoken in a long time. Because it felt like a long time to me. But the point is, that is because of love, nothing else. Not that I expect him to talk to me every day. It feels like that. But you as a parent have a responsibility. You have a responsibility to develop things in such a way that a child develops a sense of independence, does not use his or her strengths or weaknesses to manipulate you.
Yeah.
And they come to the realization that, hey, what, mommy and daddy independent, hey, boy, I really can't control them. That's the way it's supposed to be. Let's take a break.
Just to remind you that you're listening to Sexplosion on Power 102.1 FM with the guru of sex education, Dr. Raj of Total Image and the Adult Therapy Center located in St. Augustine, where he treats all sexual dysfunctions in both male and female. We'll take a break and we'll be right back with you. Stay tuned.
In collaboration with Downtown Carnival Committee and B-Mobile says it's that time again. Soca in the Square and the launch of Downtown Carnival 2K19.
Yeah, my brother. Yeah, Abby, what's up?
Be entertained by some of the biggest soca artists for Carnival 2K19 from 4 to 8 p.m.
When is that?
At Soca in the Square, the Downtown Carnival Committee will be honoring 3 songwriters.
3 o'clock would be good. Where is this? Synergy. All right, 3 o'clock. Yes. Okay. Just confirm it with me, please. Yeah, just confirm it with me. All right. Thank you.
Soca in the Square and the launch of Downtown Carnival. Feel the power and the boom. Powered by Power 102 in collaboration with Downtown Carnival Committee and B-Mobile in association with Stag LLCD.
I have to check this. I have to check this guy out.
Friday, February 8th.
2 minutes.
1 minute.
Welcome to Carnival 2019 on main stage Power 102, celebrating the Masters. A celebration of Trinbagonian culture. Come and enjoy the sweet, enticing sound of Pan. And live Pan coverage, the Panorama semi-finals, the Panorama finals, and the Carnival Lanyard. The party season is here. We'll have live coverage of the National X-Tempo prelims and semis, the Calypso Fiesta, National Junior Calypso Monarch finals, and Terrific Thursday, celebrating the Masters. Playing now on Power 102.
I knew I had to be on stage. I felt this is the place.
Celebrating the Masters. Ticket giveaways for Army Fete and more. Interesting historical features like origins of the Mass, folktales, fables, and legends, Calypso stories, characters of Carnival, and to keep you updated and in the know, our Carnival Calendar 2019, along with so much more. Celebrating the Masters. Playing now on Power 102.
Power 102, empowering you.
This Carnival.
Power is people. Power is energy. Power is soca. The Playway International Soca Monarch Semi-Final. Arriva Belgium, Sunday, February 10th from 3 p.m. to 12 p.m. Power is back. It's time to crown another king or queen of soca. 39 semi-finalists, 16 in the power and 23 in the groovy categories. To be crowned, you must be on the stage of Soca Monarch 2019. Join the crowd. The biggest flags, the biggest coolers, the biggest artists, bigger and better than ever. Tickets and cash outlets nationwide. That's international locations, extra branches, Banco Tobago, Howard Traffic Road, Rebel Spirit and Panache, Trip City Mall, Black Ice and Bubbles Barbecue. In excess,
one more
Town
coming
Launch in Arena, Please, Frederick Street, Port of Spain, Uncle Bello, Santa Cruz, and ISM Office, Warner Street, Port of Spain. The Playway International Soca Monarch. Power is soca.
On the road, safety first. So think twice and save a life. Put down the phone, it's the law. Do you know that once a device is in your hand, phone or otherwise, when the car is moving, you are breaking the law? so you've got to put down the phone. You can't reply at all if you're dead, so pull aside before answering that message. You wouldn't drive with your eyes closed, would you? So don't do it when your eyes are in the phone. Pull aside or answer your party a bit later. Hands-free or headsets when you're driving, so when you need, both hands can be on the wheel. Powered by VEMCOT, the Vehicle Management Corporation of Trinidad and Tobago, Power 102, Boom 94, in association with the Computers and Control, Arrive Alive, and the TTPS. Well, taking your time, it's now 9 minutes after 8 o'clock. You are listening to The Magic of Sex Education exclusively on Power 102 FM. With the guru of sex education, Dr Raj, Hospital Imager, the Adult Therapy Center, which is located in St. Augustine. There he treats all sexual dysfunctions in both male and female. Don't forget, our lines are open for those of you who would love to interact with him via the telephone at 222-8255, also at 612-8255. For those of you sending in your text messages and your WhatsApp messages, you can also send that on his private mobile, 740-1961. Yeah.
Good night, you guys. Great program. Always listening. A here from Rio Claro. Family.
Family, of course.
Your family,
Yeah,
Junior.
I love those people.
I hear love them enough because you reach here yet.
I like a toothbrush, I reach in slow.
Good night. Can male yeast infection affect sexual performance? Any infection, any STD or STI will affect your sexual performance. Hi. Good night, Dr. Raj and Junior. Great program. Thank you very much. That's from Alicia. Jennifer says, oh yes, a hole in the bedroom. Not going to read the other part, Junior. I'm not going to read the other part. No. Oh yes. Somebody deleted a message. I don't like when you send me a message and delete it. And you know who you are. So, Junior.
Yeah.
Tonight we were planning to do a program based on what we are doing now at the clinic. I have with me tonight here Mr. Prashant Maharaj. Present tonight.
Good night. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah. And we're here to talk about diabetes, treatment of diabetes, and other diseases that we are treating at the Adult Therapy Center in St. Augustine, that they have been doing for some time now, the protocol associated with it. But let's start first of all with the diabetes. Let's talk about diabetes.
Yes, today it's a major pandemic all over the world. And I think a lot of people aren't taking quite notice to it at all because they're seeing other diseases manifesting from it. So let's talk about diabetes. What is diabetes? You have two types, type 1 and type 2. Type 1 diabetics are usually diagnosed at a much younger age. They would have similar deficiencies, but since they are diagnosed at a much younger age, then you find that the symptoms would manifest a lot sooner. Type 2 diabetics are lifestyle disease diabetics. So we find that these persons, they may actually get the disease later on in life. Usually you'd find that diabetics, they would come around after age 40. We've noticed that the ages are getting less and less.
It's lowering. I know that for a fact.
Yeah.
Now you have what you call children diabetes, or
That's the type 1 diabetics.
yeah.
Type 1 diabetics, usually they would have eye diseases as well too, diabetic retinopathy. Usually it's a popular manifestation. They may also have nerve damage in their feet and hands as well too. Very similar to a type 2 diabetic. However, type 2 diabetics, again, they tend to be at a later stage in their life.
What are the symptoms of diabetes? Let's deal with the symptoms first. Because a lot of persons out there, they have variation and they're confused. Sometimes the doctor tells them they're pre-diabetic or you have a trace of diabetes. All these things need to be addressed. Let's deal with it.
Yes, with diabetes, it's a very, very gray area, I would say, because we have different doctors having different diagnoses. So you'd find that a person who is pre-diabetic, a doctor may say that this person is actually a type 2 diabetic. When they aren't, they are moving towards diabetes, but they aren't fully diabetic yet.
Is that the pre-diabetic situation? What determines that? Because you have someone who, you go to a professional, you go to a doctor, and the doctor tells you you're pre-diabetic, you should watch your diet, which a lot of them do, you should be on certain drugs to make sure you don't get diabetes, but things don't change, it gets worse.
Yes, that's the thing.
Why is that? But my question is, why is that? You're being treated, you're doing the things that the doctor asks you to do, but yet still you're not seeing a downward spiral, you're seeing an upward spiral.
Of course. And then we have to look at the history of diabetes. Diabetes has been around for over 3,500 years. In fact, the treatment for diabetes, which is a better diet and increased exercise, that was proposed in 1960 by Dr. Elliot Jocelyn. Now, what he realized was that if he puts a person, especially a diabetic, on a strict regime of a proper diet and increased exercise, they would decrease their symptoms of diabetes, but only by about 20%. Now, what are the symptoms of diabetes? There's a whole host of symptoms. You could actually get numbness or tingling in the feet, damages to the eyes as well too, frequent urination, and our favorite, problems in the bedroom. This is a concept.
But sexual dysfunction, I deal with it. I know that one. That the majority of diabetics have sexual dysfunction. From the diabetes, sometimes from the medication, sometimes psychologically. Because for them they hear they have diabetes, I'm impotent. That's the first thing they tell you. You are not impotent.
No, you see, the diabetes, what it does is that it actually destroys a lot of the small blood vessels or micro
The capillaries. Yes.
Exactly, yeah. As a result of that, you find that the nerves within the body, they aren't nourished as much as they should. That's why, especially in men in later stage diabetics, a stimulation of their male genitalia is very difficult. We constantly have patients coming in, usually men, and they complain about these things. They're trying all sorts of things with their wife or their girlfriend, and it's just so hard to even get an erection. A lot of them think, well, okay, I've been masturbating for so long when I was younger, I was
that causes it. Yeah, that causes it.
That's usually what
over masturbation don't cause it.
If anything, it might actually help later on, increase the libido. But what we explain to them is that the diabetes is now destroying your smaller blood vessels. It's as a result of that, your nerves are decreasing in function. So what do we need to do? We don't need to take...
Just stick up in there. I don't want you to go into that yet.
Okay.
I know that is the treatment. I know that is what we're doing.
Yes.
I don't want you to go there. Gestation diabetes.
Gestational diabetes.
Let's deal with
This is quote-unquote the third form of diabetes. This is when women become pregnant, and as a result of their pregnancy, you find that their blood sugar tends to skyrocket. As a result, the doctors would prescribe various diabetic medications. But the thing about pregnant women is that they're very scared about taking these drugs. They're scared of the side effects as well too. As is all diabetics. They're all scared of the drugs that they take. Especially if they're taking drugs where you're only supposed to take one dose a day. Some may have to take sometimes 3 to 4 of the regular dosage. Yes. When it comes to gestational diabetes, again, when I speak to most women who are pregnant, they totally don't want to use the drugs at all. They even throw it away, most of them.
I know a lot of patients throw away the drug.
Yes, and the thing is they have healthy pregnancies. The thing about a pregnant woman is that she is going to be eaten for 2 persons, not one.
Well, you don't really eat for 2. I want to correct you that. You eat for 1 and you nourish the second one. Yeah, go ahead.
So yeah, in terms of that, in that respect, you would find that the pregnant woman, they will have an increased blood sugar, but they will not be permanently diabetic. They may show...
But how does that happen? You're diagnosed as diabetic during that gestation period, and it goes after birth.
Well, that's why it's termed the gestational diabetes, a temporary diabetic condition. Unlike the type 2 diabetic, which is constant damage of the
No, but there are some women who remain diabetic
afterwards, yes.
Right.
And those are women who may not have actually been very strict on the diet, or they may have been pre-diabetic before, and as a result of that gestational diabetes, through the pregnancy, we find that they are actually continuing or have accelerated the process of becoming a diabetic. Again, with pre-diabetes and diabetics, it's basically 1 in 3 today. So it's not uncommon for a woman who's pre-diabetic to get pregnant and then be completely diabetic thereafter.
Well, we're looking at all the different types of diabetes. We're looking to see what we can diagnose. We have your HbA1c.
Yes.
You have your daily blood glucose monitoring.
Yes.
All these factors people should be doing, right? A person who has been diagnosed as pre-diabetic, diabetic, and so forth.
Yes.
Taking your medication, fine, you're using your medication. There are side effects to medication, of course.
Yes.
They are feeling some changes, but I have seen the majority of diabetic move from one protocol of drug use to another protocol, and it doesn't come down. It very rarely comes down. It increases as time go by with aging and maybe not taking care of their diet or not doing the right things. What can we do to help? How do we help them?
Yes, you find that, especially in Trinidad as well too, you have a myriad of drugs, and doctors may stick to one regime for a number of years and switch you onto something else. Eventually, you may even go to insulin, and then after insulin, well, only other option if you have kidney disease is dialysis. Yeah. So let's look at how do we actually treat a diabetic. Again, Dr. Jocelyn in the from 1910 to 1960, before he passed away, he looked at strictly diet and exercise. At this time, there weren't that many pharmaceutical companies producing these drugs. What he realized is that a 20% reduction in mortality was present. Now, that was so long ago. There weren't any mobile phones then. There was no internet. Probably sexual occurrences were probably more frequent because there was an increase in the population at that time as well too. You find that in that era, there were far more healthier persons, as opposed to now, where we have an epidemic of diabetes, chronic diseases, obesity, so on and so forth, right? So why do doctors switch from one regime to another as we move forward? These drugs are actually not tested on middle-aged adults and later stage adults. They're actually tested on young adults. What is a young adult? Between the ages of 20 to 40. So with that understanding now, let's look at what are the common ages of a diabetic. Common ages of a diabetic are usually over the age of 40. Of course, that's with type 2 diabetes. With type 1, you would get much younger ages, right? And then there's various drugs for the different age brackets. So moving on from that, you would find that a diabetic patient who is over 40, usually strokes as well too, you get that in ages over 60. They would be taking a drug that is not really tested rigorously for their age bracket.
So you're telling me that the person using the drug is not designed for them?
It's not specifically designed for them.
Mm-hmm.
And also the dosages as well too. So most of these drugs are made to use once per day. We have multiple patients using sometimes 4 to 6 of these tablets per day, in addition to using other diabetic medication, as well as we have other chronic diseases. So you find that a diabetic patient may also be a hypertensive patient. They may take high blood pressure drugs. They may also be a heart patient as well too, and be prone to heart disease. As a result, they would actually take what we know as beta blockers, right, to actually assist in the function of the heart. So it's a whole myriad of problems in one, coupled with the fact that we have so much advertisements for fast food outlets. We have so much entertainment these days as well too. In fact, entertainment now is right in your pocket. So the human being today is really in a very difficult position as it comes to their health.
Well, one of the factors that I know, I'm sure it is the amount of sugar that is added to everything that we use.
Yes.
Sugar in large quantity. I was looking at a documentary recently where a very popular drink that is made in Trinidad has 3 teaspoons of sugar per bottle.
Oh, that's a little bit, man. There's
No,
some that with a whole lot more.
but if you see the size of the bottle.
Right.
You know what is 3 teaspoons of sugar? Have you ever tried putting a teaspoon of sugar in your mouth? And one of these little bottles have 3.
Yeah.
It's crazy. That's crazy. Sugar, you're pumping sugar into yourself by, even in some of our popular foods, for it to taste good, we put sugar in it.
Yes,
Our
we do.
stews,
Yeah. Mhm.
even the simple thing as doubles, the bar have sugar in it, There's all sugar to that,
And you have mango chutney on top of that.
And you have chutney, and you have tamarind chutney, and you have this, and you have that, there's sugar in your tail, So whenever you think that you're eating healthy, you have to be very careful of the things that you're eating because of the amount of sugar. And of course, you know what a roti or a doubles is paired with? A soft drink.
Oh, yes.
Always, yeah.
Oh, yes.
It's paired with a soft drink, sugar again.
But you'll never think that. I mean, the ordinary person who's sitting...
You will never think that. Barbecue, which is very popular.
Yeah.
Barbecue, the barbecue sauce, they lace that with sugar for it to taste good.
And even worse too is that these burnt meats are carcinogenic.
Well, we know that, but
cancer causing, of course.
well, we know that part, but
already.
Trinidadian like the barbecue. Don't tell them that.
And that's what we understand as well too with our treatment. You find that persons, as far as changing their diet, it's very, very difficult. They've grown up eating this way, especially parents as well too. You find that they have all sorts of other priorities. They have to work, they have to see about kids. In fact, today we have an aging population in Trinidad and Tobago. So you find out
We have a population that's not growing, except for illegal immigrants.
Well, there is that as well too. I heard they rescued some earlier. Was it today or yesterday? Something like that.
Okay. I are going down there. So we're looking at these lifestyle diseases. Now I will tell you from where I sit. I've been running a clinic for 20 years dealing with sexual dysfunction. I have seen many men and women who come to me with dysfunction related directly to diabetes, directly to their diet. But it's very difficult to tell that person, change your diet, exercise, do the right things. They want a cure. They want a pill to cure whatever is happening. But there's no magic pill. And sometimes a person uses a pill and it doesn't work for them. It may work for one and may not work for the other.
Of course.
So you have to be very careful about that. So I know you, together with a doctor, we're not allowed to call his name, has developed a protocol to treat specifically that issue that he was talking about, the damages to the nerve. Realigning the body, getting that circulation back, and reversing that process. Let's expand on that now.
Right, so as we mentioned before, the nerve and blood vessels work hand in hand. So in order to actually bring this human being back to full function, we need to repair these micro blood vessels and these fine nerves as well. It's a very simple process. A lot of doctors have actually been using a myriad of ways. A lot of persons really use vitamin Bs as well. Commonly though, you find that they use vitamin B tablets. Now when you ingest a tablet, mostly vitamin supplements, you would find that your digestive system or your stomach, and most people understand that, would actually destroy a very large amount of it. The reason for that is because your body is actually made to break down these substances and absorb what it needs. But when these vitamins and minerals interact with your gases, the acids within your stomach, you find that you don't get the full benefit of these products. As a result, many products would have a larger amount of the active ingredients in them. What we've realized is that...
And fillers.
And fillers as well too. What we've realized is that vitamin B products, as tablets, they aren't quite as effective as the intramuscular injections, or where you actually give injections for the B complexes. A lot of doctors in Trinidad tend to use the B12 injections, which are very good, but they're very good for treating younger adults or persons who are non-diabetic. You find that they're very good at nourishing the nerves, and there have been numerous studies that have shown that a B12 deficiency in a diabetic is very present. What we realized though is that we prefer to use a vitamin B complex, and it's a lot stronger. The thing about vitamin Bs is that your body needs a whole host of them, not just B12, but all the ones in between. As a result of that, we're actually able to nourish the nerves at a much better rate. And also, when we combine this nerve regenerative therapy with stem cell therapy, what is stem cell therapy? Stem cell therapy is where we are actually rebuilding the blood vessels, or allowing blood flow to go throughout the body. So it's just like a house. A house has pipes and plumbing. The blood vessels are basically your pipes and plumbing in your body.
Correct.
And then the nerves are like the circuitry or the electrical in your house, right? That's the electrical in your body. When we have both of these being nourished at the same time, you find that persons who basically can't really control their diets and don't tend to exercise much, they are now being nourished at a point where they weren't ever in their entire life. That's the thing about these products. It's not the ones where you might find in certain public health institutions with fillers. We use really strong products that we actually import ourselves from the United States and Europe. We found that these products are a much higher quality than what you would find usually imported insurance bill. Yeah. As a result, we get marvelous results in all our patients, especially diabetic patients.
What kind of time frame are you looking at to treat a diabetic, somebody who is not pre-diabetic, somebody who is diabetic type 2? What sort of results they should expect and what time frame you're looking at?
Of course, we would need to look at their medical report first at the A1C levels. Of course, a diabetic patient is 6.5% and above. You find that we meet a whole wide range of persons in those categories. In terms of a time frame, regular diabetic, we could see results in as little as 3 months once we treat aggressively. But just to be safe, within 6 months, we could see massive results. For more chronic diabetics, it would be a more lengthy time period. But once we see you at least once a week, we would definitely be able to allow this patient to see the maximum benefits of our vitamin B complex in addition to the stem cell complex.
Well, I would like the listening audience out there to know that this protocol is something that has been tried and tested, because I'm sure you all have been doing this for a while. I would also like them to know that there's a cost attached to it, because like everything else, there's a cost.
Yes.
But their dedication to it is what is important.
Of course.
The time frame
And just
and how often they are treated.
Yes.
That is what they need to know.
Of course, just to clear things up, again, we're not proposing any cure. Of course, we're not proposing a quick fix as well too. What we are showing persons is that once we treat you on a consistent basis, we will not treat you once a week for the rest of your life. We are looking at once a week probably for the first 2 to 3 months, and then we cut down.
Let's stick up in here because we need to take a break.
You're listening to Sexplosion on Power 2.1 FM with me, the sexologist in the Caribbean, Dr. Raj, taking your time to 29 minutes after 8 o'clock. We'll take a break and we'll be right back with you. Stay tuned.
Queens of Soca gather from TNT, the Caribbean, and around the world.
Safest fence in Carnival.
February 22nd, 2019.
I'll be coming.
Harper Nappy. Get ready to represent. Marshall Montano in full band. Neil, Iowa George. Shell Marshall. Lax and the Old Stars Band. Irvin Al. Swappy. The Legend Super Blue. Voice. From St. Vincent, Simba. And from Grenada, Still Lakes. The Queens of Soca. Nadia Batson. Patrice Roberts. Nyla Blackman. Nessa Ruby. And from Jamaica, Shensia. Get your tickets on sale now at NLCD Lotto outlets nationwide. Buckles Walkie-Rep. Cachets nationwide. In Excess Port of Spain. Rennie's, High Street, San Fernando. All Army camps. And online at ticketfederation.com. Power 102 FM, Boom Champions 94, and Vemcott present Think Twice. Think Twice. We celebrate life and promote safety on the nation's roads. Think twice on the roads, in your cars, for our pedestrians and cyclists. Think twice before you drive, act, and go about your daily lives. Every life is precious, and we must each do our part to preserve lives on the roads of Trinidad and Tobago. Think twice. Every day, we give you life-saving tips and advice on how you can safely use our roads and highways in Trinidad and Tobago. We also invite you to download this safety app, which you can use to share messages and information in your very own private networks between family and friends and co-workers, all to keep each other safer. Think Twice. Brought to you by the Vehicle Management Corporation of Trinidad and Tobago Limited, VEMCOT, in association with Arrival Live and the TTPS, the Guide Group of Companies, Elon Massey North Credit Union, and Computers and Controls. Think Twice. Think Twice. Safety for you and your family.
Recorded?
Think Twice.
We do record it.
For Trinidad and Tobago. It's people. Power. It's energy. Power. It's
What they were saying was that they missed a lot of people, they missed a lot of people.
Sunday, February 10th from 3 p.m. to 12 a.m. Power is back. It's time to crown another king or queen of soca. 39 semi-finalists, 16 in the power and 23 in the groovy categories. To be crowned, you must be on the stage of Soca Monarch 2019. Join the crowd. The biggest flags, the biggest coolers, the biggest artists, bigger and better than ever. Tickets at cashier outlets nationwide, Fats International locations, Extra Food branches, Barco Tobago, How's That Traffic Road, Rebels Third and Panache, Trin City Mall, Black Eyes and Bobby's Bar, QF, In Excess and Sal Launch in Arima, Cleves, Frederick Street, Port of Spain, Uncle Vero, Santa Cruz and ISM Office, Warner Street, Port of Spain. The Playway International Soca Monarch. Power is Soca.
You're listening to Sexplosion on Power 2.1 FM with the only sexologist in the Caribbean, Dr. Raj of Total Image and the Adult Therapy Center located in St. Augustine. Yeah.
Well, of course, we have had individuals who have sent messages about the recording of the program. We don't record the program. For those of you who are interested in looking at the program again, you can go on my Facebook page. To find my Facebook page, it's Giriraj Ganesh Ramnanan, which is my proper name. It's on Facebook. You'll find the program there recorded. You can get all the information. I know some of you have missed the first part of the program. You were interested in it. But radio is like that.
Yes, it is.
Radio has to be live. You have to make the effort. And if you cut something in between, of course, if you ask the question, if you call in on, of course, we're opening up the lines now. Call and speak to Prashant. Call and ask me questions. Let's discuss this, get more information. I'm sure, I am positive, we have at least 1,000 diabetics listening to this program. I can put my head on a block and say that, because we have over 20,000 listeners to this program. And if you take it just on percentage, I'm being conservative. I'm being very conservative. So we have at least 1,000 diabetics listening to this program who will be interested to know what is taking place, what can be done for them, and how soon it can be done for them. Because we are doing it at the Adult Therapy Center now.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, we're taking appointments for those who want to come in for the treatment. There's a consultation.
Yes.
And I think the consultation is repeated each time you come so that it sticks in your mind what is being done and how the protocol works. So you get a better understanding. You may take the treatment today and repeat the treatment next week, and you may have questions between that time. Things might pop up in your head that you forgot to ask the first time, but you remembered now. Put it on your phone. I tell my clients, put it on your phone. You always have your phone with you. You'll forget a piece of paper. It will get washed out in your pants, but not your phone.
Very good.
Of course. Yeah.
And every phone, there's a notepad in your phone where you can type in yourself.
And it's backed up too.
And it's backed up. So I always tell them to do that. You listen to a program like this tonight. We're finding a solution for your problems, because I'll tell you the sexual effect that it has. Many men suffer from erectile dysfunction related to diabetes, circulatory problem, nerve problem. How do you treat it? What do you do? There is a protocol. Once the doctor is finished with you, with that protocol of reversing your diabetes, getting you back to a healthier lifestyle, I take over with the sexual function. And I will guarantee you that once he does what he has to do, that part of it is done, your sexual function will come back so quickly you'll be amazed. Because it will start happening while you're taking the treatment,
Yeah.
But the other part of it that I need to do comes afterwards. Again, it's putting the horse before the cart and not the cart before the horse.
Exactly. But what we're going to do is open up our lines.
Yes. Let's open up the lines there and have persons who are interested in getting information to call in. Call in now. It's, what is it? 612
2228 255 and 612825.
And of course, you can send me messages directly on my WhatsApp 7401961 or the WhatsApp at the studio 318
1021.
1021. Right? So that is important to note. It is important to note these things. It can happen. I have a brother-in-law who does something similar in the United States. He does vitamin, but he does it intravenously. And he uses heavy dosage of vitamins for the reversal of certain things. Because he deals with pain management, and he also deals with persons who are addicted to drugs.
Okay.
So So there's a lot of use for this thing. But he does it in a particular way which we haven't been doing it in Trinidad yet. I saw somebody talk about it, but it's not being done wholeheartedly here. But there's so many ways you can be treated now for things that we didn't even dream about 10 years ago. So many ways. What you talk about stem cell therapy. Remember, I think 14 years ago I was talking about that here?
Yes.
Stem cell therapy.
Yeah.
There was a particular supplement that was being used for that. And these things had reversal on individuals. Unfortunately, sometimes the FDA or the big drug companies come in and they step in and they shut you down.
Yes, they do.
Very possible. Yeah, and you see, that's the thing about the FDA as well too. Our product has actually been approved in the United States. So it actually works in harmony with the pharmaceutical drugs. So if a patient is already on their various diabetic medications, we are not looking to take you off of it. We will limit you to the minimum dosage, but our drugs will actually allow you to get the full benefits of regenerative therapy. And that way we could actually work hand in hand with the pharmaceutical companies. We would be extending the lifespan of the patient and their quality of life, which is the most important thing.
I think so.
Definitely.
I think the most important thing is the quality of your life. When I talk here about relationship, when I talk here about husband and wife, child rearing, all those things, it's the quality of your life.
Yes.
It must improve. You must feel good about yourself. Same thing with diabetics, same thing with persons suffering from hypertension, high cholesterol, all these lifestyle diseases. You can improve your quality of life if you do certain things. And this is the important factor that we must all look at.
Of course, and that's why I appreciate, having me on as well too. I think it's the first time a sexologist has partnered with a first responder, probably in the world, to actually talk about issues like this.
Because I see the need for it, and I understand the importance of it. Dealing with hundreds of diabetic patients who have erectile dysfunction and sexual dysfunction, and you come to me and you have shown me a way and a path to help these individuals, to bring them closer to finding a solution to their problem, you think I wouldn't embrace it? Of course I would.
Fantastic.
Because my thing is what's best for the patient.
Yes.
At the end of the day, what he or she gets out of it. There are women with diabetes who have difficulty having an orgasm. And they don't even realize they have diabetes and they can't have an orgasm because of the damage to the capillaries and the nerves.
Yes. As well as a diabetic woman, you find that they may also get hyperthyroid. So there's a constant disruption of the hormones within the body. Further contribution to lack of sexual stimulation. You find that women tend to be neglected in that respect, but at least with respect to hypothyroid and hyperthyroid. Unfortunately, in Trinidad, we tend to not really put the patient at the center of our universe. But that's what we are looking to do now. Through our combination therapy, together with your Total Image company and Ocean Medi, we are looking to educate persons throughout Trinidad and Tobago and even wider as well too. Once we have an educated patient, they will know what is right for their body and then look to seek the necessary services. I think that
I always believe in education. That's why I've been doing this program for 19 years, going in 19 years. This program has been on the air at Power 102. We've been speaking about every different aspect of anything that is sexual. So we educate the listeners. So the listeners, when educated, can make an educated choice.
Exactly.
They can fix themselves now, saying, well, here what? All the things that I was doing before. There was one guy, he has phimosis. Went to many doctors. Never got help. Came by me, started to get help. But he's doing it at a very late stage. But he's getting some help.
Right. At least some relief.
Right,
Yeah.
some relief. There are individuals who have had many different sexual dysfunction. And they go to the wrong place. Because, of course, you can't blame them. They think that this is the best place to go to.
Well, that's the thing. Misinformation is a big, big problem, especially in Trinidad and Tobago. We have all sorts of quote-unquote medical professionals saying all sorts of things. Just to add to that, I think you wrote an article on andropause, was it?
Yes.
Yes, I remember reading up on that as well too.
I've written many articles.
Yeah.
Can't find some of them.
Another major problem in men, as you were mentioned before, the testosterone boosting and stuff. You need to fix your own body, fix your own natural production of your own human growth hormone, and that way you will be able to get an erection, man.
Well, not only the erection, your quality of life increases.
Exactly.
You feel good about yourself. You know that when you call upon, you can do what you're supposed to do. A simple thing, like I had somebody who come in the medical field, he belongs to the medical field, came to me today. This is his second visit. First visit, he made it known that he's in the medical field and whatnot. And the first thing came off his mouth, I know Kegel exercise. So I didn't bother to answer him.
Right.
Today, on his second visit, I gave him the protocol to do the Kegel exercise the proper way, the way I invented it when I was 15 years of age.
Okay.
When I was 15. And he was like, nobody never told me that. I didn't see that in Google. I said, Google can't teach you
Google
nothing.
can't, yeah. Google
Google is
is all other places.
No,
So-
Google is a manipulative thing. It manipulates you to go to different things so that
That don't
they
work.
make money. They make money. That's it. End of story. So I tell him, I say, well, you could go to Dr. Google or you could come to Dr. Raj
Sure.
and have the right thing done. So when I gave him the protocol, he says, okay, I'm going to try this now. I was doing it wrongly all the time.
Right.
Yes, most people do things the wrong way or they go to the wrong person. You know why I became a sexologist? And I tell people this all the time. It's a nice story. As a young man growing up, we used to play something called raising on the block if you're playing cricket. After cricket, you can't play raising because in the darkness of the evening, you could still play raising because a big football you're using. And when you talk to the guys and you hear them boast about their sexual prowess and the things that they were doing, some of them, how much ladies is a mashup and not, and you realize it was total bull crap that they were talking.
Right.
And I decided that I will become an educator in the sexual arena to tell people the truth.
Yes.
The whole truth, but nothing but the truth.
Especially in Trinidad, we have men with big egos.
Huge egos. It's like, sometimes I'm introduced to some men, and the first thing they'll say, he can't teach me nothing, I know everything about sex. my response is, I bow to you because I've been doing this thing for close to 40 years and I don't know everything about sex.
Still a student.
I'm
Most
still a
importantly.
student.
Yeah.
I'm still learning. And if you could know everything about sex, you're great.
Fantastic, yeah.
You could be my guru.
Yeah.
And it's the truth. You cannot know everything about sex. And as a sexologist, a sex therapist, you deal with individuals all the time. You have to change protocol. You have to redistribute things. You have to remanufacture things to suit.
Of course, and that's the innovative.
I'm laughing because I can't understand why Junior is under the console. Something. Okay. I thought you were looking for something. I thought you were looking for your last name in a bin. So this is the important factors that we have to look at. I think we have some message coming in here. Good evening, Dr. Raj. I'm a type 1 diabetic for the past 14 years. I really need to get rid of diabetes. Is a young man on your program capable of getting rid of it? Well, it's not the young man on the program that is capable of getting rid of it. He is part of the protocol. He's part of the team that works in getting rid of it.
Of course, to that listener, we'd definitely like to schedule an appointment with you. You can message us probably a date and time. What times would be good, Dr. Raj?
Well, according to the doctor, Wednesdays will be perfect.
Yeah, Wednesdays.
You can meet with them at my office on a Wednesday from 10 o'clock onwards.
Sounds great. Yeah.
So anyone who wants to meet with you or meet with the doctor, have a discussion, a lively discussion, look at the actual, the whole system of doing this thing, the protocol, the things that they need to do,
Yes.
get an idea of the cost, and they move from there.
Of course. Since they're a type 1 diabetic, they probably have a medical done already. They can
Bring
that
your
with them,
medical.
of course.
Bring your medical.
We review that for you one time and let you know what can actually be done. Again, our doctors have had international experience. It's really a team of doctors. We have doctors who have worked in the UK as well as medical professionals from the US as well too. So you find out their minds aren't really clogged by what is going on in Trinidad. Trinidad is a very special place when it comes to medicine. But by bringing in
Explain that. Explain that. You
Let's
yourself
just say-
up to that.
Yeah, let's just say the patient is not the center of the universe in Trinidad.
But I don't
We
think the
found that
patient
in
is the center of the universe in most countries.
You find so?
Yeah.
Well, at least in the US, you'd find that you would get a little more critical thinking in terms of the therapy. They are now embracing stem cell therapy as well too, especially in Texas clinics, at least from what I've seen. Yeah, so it's now gaining some speed. There's a whole host of other medical regimes that are coming on stream. But what we have realized is that with what we do, we can actually enhance all of these things because we enhance the total holistic health of the patient. And that's why I assume you created total image. For the
Yes, total image.
well-being of the patient.
That's right.
Yeah.
The total well-being, but we need to have preventative medicine also.
Exactly.
We need to prevent some of the things that are happening, especially for the young men out there who have been diagnosed with, well, young men and older men who have been diagnosed with pre-diabetes or diabetes. It just started. Don't wait for it to get worse.
Yes.
Because it's only going to destroy your life, nothing else.
As well as a woman as well who have hypothyroid or hypothyroid.
Yes.
They may be constantly frustrated, not just in the bedroom, but in all aspects of life. Even just talking to their spouse or their boyfriend, or even dealing with their kids. And these things can actually go as unexplained. These women as well too, maybe even be putting on certain amounts of weight and they have no explanation
For it,
you know.
exactly. And I see I see that happening a lot. And some of them will say, well, I'm married now, so I will put on weight. That has nothing to do with it. Some young men, and
yes.
this is one of the things I dislike seeing. A guy gets married and he lets himself go, and all of a sudden he put on a punch and he stopped taking care of himself and he say, my wife feeding me good. That has nothing with me doing with feeding you good.
Yes.
If you're being fed good, it will never get like that.
And if you're exercising as you're supposed to before you got married, which is what got you, the lucky lady, into the marriage,
Correct.
you will have a happy marriage later on, right?
But we don't pay attention to the health side. We don't do enough in terms of working out, changing our diets here and there, staying off of certain foods that are not good for us, that could only cause more harm than good. And I just wish, this is my wish, one day that all these high sugar drinks and foods are either they have to pay high taxes or they're banned. Fast food especially.
Well, they were looking at a sugar tax, I believe, as well.
Yeah. But we need to do that because there are too many individuals because of their, now of course we have free will, we can choose what we want to eat, right? But if it is so easily available, I've heard guys who are truckers and whatnot say, well, you know, when I'm on the road, the first thing I could buy is some fast food and eat that.
Always the answer.
But it is an excuse.
Yes.
It is an excuse. Because there are certain ingredients that are added to fast food to make you want it also. Eh? There's an addiction factor to these things.
We could definitely do some chemical testing and see how that works.
There is an addiction factor to all these foods. There are certain foods, for the time you smell it, you want it. You know what causes the addiction factor also? Advertising.
Of course.
There are products that are advertised so much, you feel it's good for you.
Well, right now, fast food brings in $500 billion a year. So we're talking massive amounts of revenue and the marketing budgets behind that.
Let's take a break. We'll get back to that.
One taking returns now, 10 minutes before 9 o'clock. You are on the inside of Sexplosion, right here on Power 2.1 FM. We'll take a break and we'll be right back with you. Stay tuned.
Are you fed up of car problems? Well, your solution is Champlain Auto Services. They repair all vehicles, makes and models, even roll-on and roll-off vehicles. Champlain Auto Services is your one-stop shop for batteries, tires, alignment, tune-up, suspension, electrical, and diagnostic scans. Record services, and we'll even pick up and drop off your vehicle. So don't waste precious time going elsewhere. Let Champlain Auto Services handle it all. Give them a call at 662-6545. Champlain Auto Services, opposite Carib Brewery on the Eastern Main Road. Your total car care stop.
My Vet, your vet, Army Vet. The safest vet in Carnival.
Somebody go touch it for you. Somebody go touch it. Somebody go touch it for you. Touch it for you. You could actually call it your man too. She going on me if she want to.
Huh? Okay, let's see it.
Fire Friday, February 22nd, 2019.
International sex
Power 102 FM, Boom Champions 94, and Vemcott present Think Twice. Think Twice. We celebrate life and promote safety on the nation's roads. Think twice on the roads, in your cars, for our pedestrians and cyclists. Think twice before you drive. Act and go about your daily lives. Every life is precious. And we must watch you up on the roads of the roads of Trinidad and Tobago. Think twice.
What happened now? Smooth. What happened smooth?
Use our roads and highways in Trinidad
Smooth.
and Tobago. We also invite
I need to went on vacation now.
which you can use to share messages.
Carnival time you do go on vacation.
On private networks.
Unless you're doing, I have to say it for the last couple of
Keep
days.
each other safer. Think
Unless you're doing
twice.
record,
To you by the Vehicle Management Corporation
So I know
of
he's
Trinidad and
taking
Tobago
a
Limited.
Yeah, he had one come out earlier this year.
Arrival Line and the TTPS, the Galap Group of Companies, Neil and Massey North Credit Union, and Computers and Controls. Think twice. Think twice. Safety for you and your family.
Everything I didn't remember that side of the second calypso too.
And safer Trinidad and Tobago. Power 102 in
That'd be
collaboration
an
with
interesting
Downtown
show.
Carnival Committee.
Dr.
Yes,
Raj
I'm
sings Calypso. Why not?
Yeah, there's no problem. Yeah, that's just a one plug and put back in the plug. Okay, okay, I'll do that for you right now. Find out a lot of problems and
And you have to battle until 12 tonight?
the country's premier football facility, with a
the connection all break down. Just now this computer break down.
I saw that.
For more information, email ballparkt@gmail.com or call 2014. That's 201-2255. Check them out on Facebook and Instagram at ballparkt or visit the website ballparkt.com. TNT's premier football venue for rentals. ML Ballpark, formerly known as the Martin Stadium, Bokoya Road, Bokoya. The ML Ballpark, sponsored by Sunshine Snacks and Medical Associates.
Well, taking returns now 5 minutes before 9 o'clock. You're on the inside of Sexplosion with the guru of sex education, Dr. Raj Brahmanan, our Total Image and the Adult Therapy Center located in St. Augustine, where he treats all sexual dysfunctions in both male and female. Yeah.
One of the challenges you face as a sex therapist dealing with individuals who have lifestyle disease is that they don't take care of their disease the way they should, and you still have to find a solution for their sexual dysfunction. You know?
That's the thing.
And that's a serious challenge.
Yeah. You'd find that you don't want the holistic therapy. You just want a quick fix.
Everyone wants a quick fix.
Yeah.
They want a quick pill. That's why you have a proliferation of places selling tablets, and they tell you, in Trinidad per capita, we have the largest amount of sex pills in the world. You know,
Wow.
in Trinidad.
I think at 1.2 we had the highest rating for viewing of pornography.
Still,
Yes.
still,
Wow.
still,
I
still.
thought
We,
Bangladesh beat us all.
no,
Guess
we're
top them
in the top 10. We're always in the top 10. Don't worry. We're top 3.
Oh, yes.
We're in the top 3 with that.
We're a
But
very aroused population.
I wouldn't say that.
No?
That a very curious population, really. A closet population when it comes to things of a pornographic nature, and you'll be surprised to know the amount of male and female, and the amount of females that look at porn, and you'll be surprised of the demographics of where it's centered, who download porn more. But anyway, the challenge here is what can be done for the individual who have these lifestyle diseases so that they become a better individual. They change their way. They operate differently. They don't face the challenges that you normally would face.
Yes.
And that's what we need to do, and that's what we've been doing. I am so glad that someone like yourself came along. The protocol was shown to me. I endorse it because I think it's something that is going to work. We need to have the patients work with it, and I work with the patient and see where we go from here.
Of course. And this partnership, I think, is very strategic, and it's going to be definitely worthwhile in the future. I'd just like to shout out some of my friends who will be on Instagram.
Sure.
There are a couple sex therapists as well too, Sex Because. They're all in the United States. There's also Carl and Charlie. They're an older couple, but they're now seeing the value and experiencing their sex life very fruitfully. There's also another couple.
There's no age limit for sex,
Exactly.
unless you renounce it.
Very true.
No, unless you renounce sex as part of your life. There's no age limit for sex.
No.
I don't know why people put an age limit to sex, because some person, he too old to be having sex. No.
No, of course not.
And there's some persons who believe that when you reach a certain age, your penis is supposed to die off and you die afterwards. But we don't want Willie dead before we, right?
In my lifetime. You know.
Yeah, go ahead.
There's also Relationship Riot. That's a couple who, they actually got divorced. But they're still together. They have a child together. But the reason why they got the divorce is because they didn't want to have something forcefully keeping them together. They wanted to experience a more freedom-oriented lifestyle. And there's also currently, she has a sex talk show with her son actually. It's called Sex Talk with My Mom. So I'd just like to thank them for tuning in. And hopefully next week, we'll definitely be able to do another great show again.
Well, you are booked for another show on Monday.
Fantastic.
Let's talk sex. So that's a different advertisement. So, folks, for those of you who want to get in contact with the doctors and Prashant, and you want to meet with them, you can meet with them at Total Image on Wednesday. Call, book your appointment. Just tell them that you want to come in and meet with the doctors on diabetes, and they'll be there to explain everything to you. And hopefully you will get your questions answered and you'll be treated in the proper way.
Yeah.
So with that, folks, I must say good night.
Yeah.
Until tomorrow night. Until tomorrow night,
It feels like the day has just
when
begun.
we come in at
On
9,
a Friday we go from 9
and
until
Friday we go
12.
from 9 till 12, and it's going to be maybe highly sexual, who knows?
Yes, you never know on a Friday.
What happens on a Friday?
Freaky Friday.
Yeah.
Well, it gets a little more than freaky sometimes.
Yeah.
But we'll be here. So with that, folks, good night.
You have been listening to Sexplosion on Power 2.1 FM with the only sexologist in the Caribbean, Dr. Raj.